Okay. Who's it? Right. I'm gonna create a new project. Right. So chat. Then cd to chat. Oh, I haven't. Okay, set screen. So right now I'm inside demo and I just create the chat folder. So I'm going into the chat folder. There's nothing inside. I'm gonna create a React app, right? npm init react front end. Yay. At the same time, I'm gonna open another Windows and I'm gonna do make it here backend, cd to backend, and then npm init y. Okay, cool. So I'm not gonna open the backend side, and still React is still working. So backend side is done. I'm gonna close it. Here's the front end. Take a while. It's done. Now you have to cd into your front end project. Okay, now you can do code. Okay, so I have two windows here. This one is the backend side, right, and this one is the front end. So it's I think we need to install all of these, but what was the CMD to install node? npm init y. You have to cd into your backend, first, and then do that. For React, you don't have to cd into front end, and you don't have to create the front end. You can just do the npm init react app, and then the name of folder. So we only get packages. Yeah, basically yes. Let's see. Let's work on the backend first, right? So this is the backend model. So I'm gonna create a. Actually, I forgot. Let's install a couple of important. Go away, the faces. Let's install a couple of important package. npm install .env. npm install express. And one more, socket IO, I think. Scroll up here. So server side, you will have to install socket IO by running this command. nbx is okay. Yeah, anything. So I prefer using npm because npm is easier to remember for me. So I also need to install the socket IO. Not this. This is our backend. Install socket IO. Okay. So the way we set up our server will be a little bit different from how we've been doing, right? Because this time we're gonna run on another socket, another protocol. It's not HTTP. So we want to have another file called server, as well as the app.js, right? We already have app.js before. Now we need another file called server, and let's create those two first. I'm gonna create app.js and one more server.js. Okay. Inside app.js, just like normal, we do a bunch of normal things like this, nothing new, and go copy and paste. everything is copy and paste. It's okay, don't worry. So basically we use Express as our framework, and we create a route in order to check if our app is working, right? But here we don't run app.listen right away, right? We don't do app.listen, but instead we export our app. Okay, and then why the hell do I call it index here? This one should be server. Sorry, I went back and changed the container a bit. So we can use index or server, either one work, doesn't matter. So now let's use server, and then you can copy this. So in server you import and use .env. Why? Because I want to run the server on the port number, dynamic port number. I don't want to hard code in my code. And also now you have to create your env file, .env. Inside here I'm gonna port equal 5000, save it. So you import env. For this I don't think you need the option here. This is just if you want to use a different name for env, you can have it, but if you don't, you can just type like this. It's okay, right? So now we need a very basic package, which is HTTP package, a module. It's a core module for Express. Basically Express is running on the HTTP module here. So import app from the app.js, right? And then you create a server by HTTP create server, and you put app in there. This is how you set up a server, HTTP server. Basically, if you do something like this and you do app.listen here, behind under the hood, Express will call these function or method for you. But now we want to run another protocol, WebSocket protocol, so that's why we need to destructure it and then customize it. Right. Okay, so here's how we do it. We import app, and then we create we use HTTP and then create a server using the Express app. Okay, so this app is Express app. Alright, everything I think everything is fine now. Let's see if it's work. And gonna do you have to create a script though. npm dev. Oh, now we need not more. Oh shit me. So basically WebSocket also work with HTTP. We can integrate the WebSocket into our HTTP. For some reason they call it HTTP, but we can also use WebSocket in here, even though they name it HTTP. People tend to name it HTTP, but it also be like HTTPS, or it can also be WebSocket, because the socket IO here, the socket IO that we're gonna use, is written to work with the HTTP protocol as well. So we just need to create the HTTP app protocol, and then we can use the Express app as well as the WebSocket all together in one server. So the whole server here. Right. These steps are just like setup. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so now we need to use nodemon. And we will start the server. .js. So now we don't start the app, but instead we start the server. We don't start the app, right? We start the server. So dev npm run dev will execute the script nodemon server.js, right? So now I'm gonna do another one. Start node server.js, comma, right? Okay, now I'm gonna test. npm run dev. Right, everything worked fine, I guess. So now you can open and test localhost. Yes, your server is running, right? Okay. If you see okay here, I mean everything is fine up until now. Okay. And that means you finish this first step. And this first step up until here. You don't need to install them on, it still work. Good question, Bob. Yay. I think I actually installed not more as a global package somehow. It's not in here because I already have that as a global package. Man, good question. Only you notice that. When you install a package, you have the ability to choose if you want it to run only on your application or only in a dev environment or in your application or the entire Node.js. Something like that. I don't really remember. Maybe it should be in the documentation. Oh, not more. Okay, whatever. But yeah, you should only install them on your local server. You don't install it on the server or actually on the VBS or on Heroku as well. So that's make better sense to install Express and not on .thing as well. No, Express is heavy somehow. .env is okay. Yeah, you can install it as a. But if you don't wait, hang on a second. If you don't install .env as a local package or local module here, when you deploy it, it will throw an error, right? It will throw error. I don't have to install nodemon here because when I deploy to my own server or to Heroku, they don't run npm run dev at all. They run npm star, and npm star doesn't use nodemon. That's why it doesn't throw any error. Okay. If you don't install .env on your local application here, when you deploy, it will throw error. It cannot read the env, right? So, so many problem. Install one by one. It's better. What else? Now we need to use the socket IO inside our app. And the chat window is here. Oh, I see Emily, Yim, Bảo, Khôi, Khải, and Khanh. Right, socket. So basically, we are done here because we want to run our socket IO outside of our Express app. And right now, our Express app is the app here. The whole app here is our Express app. And we want to establish a new protocol, which is a socket IO, WebSocket, outside of Express app. That's why we need another file, like a bigger function. It's kind of like a bigger function to wrap around Express as well as the socket IO. Right? So go back to the learning portal, and this is how I define another protocol here. You import socket IO. We already installed it, right? So we import it, this line, and then we can do IO equals socket IO server, something kind of like this. Socket IO is gonna wrap around server. I don't know why they make it this way, but it should be the server wrap around the socket IO, but I don't know why they define the syntax like this. So right now you create another connection, another protocol, and this one is our Express app. This one's our socket IO. Right, so I'm gonna type so slowly. I'm gonna type cons socket IO equal require socket IO. Okay, and now we cons below server because IO equal socket IO dot create server, and we're gonna wrap server here. I think it's create server. I don't remember, but what's wrong with this? in other words. Yeah. Okay, and then we can do io.on. Default connection is connection, and here's the socket. I will explain what socket is later. And here's the body. Right, socket. Let's not do that. Let's console log some establish. Right, something wrong. Oh, this is not a function. I think it's gonna be a. I think it's not really. Oh, just wrap it. Sorry, just wrap it. You don't have to run any method. Just wrap it. This one is a function already. Actually, it's a class. So you call a class and then you give it an argument. This argument is gonna be another class. Right. So we actually start this, but we have no way to test if it's working or not, right? Now we've done this part. We've done this part, but right now we have no way to test if it's working or not. So now we need to create a client in order for that client to connect to the server. So open your React app. before we actually start anything, let's take a look at our index file. So right now, the modern React, some of the update, the latest update of React, they actually adding the strict mode here, and the strict mode is gonna like cause you some problem. Basically, strict mode is gonna, oh, you cannot do it like this here. So strict mode will run the render twice. Right, it will run the render twice. So if you call your React application like not in a bad practice or not in a correct way, you will see the problem right away. I remember many of you already ran into this problem during your React time. So basically, this strict mode is kind of like a test to see if your app is designed well. If you design or you code it not correctly, you will see the error. You will see it's not the error, but it's kind of like a behavior that you don't want to have. Right. So we can either delete it, because I hate to see the render run 2 times. You can just delete it. Right, and now go into your application, and I don't want to see all of this. I'm gonna delete this as well. So I'm gonna keep on only the div here. I'm gonna test my app. Testing. Right, let's test my app here. Just deleting. Sure is deleting stuff, the stuff that you don't want to see. Nah, I just delete. I delete. Let me see. I delete the strict mode. I delete stuff that I don't want to. Right. Testing. Now you have just a word testing. Now you can see the test is here, right? That's it. You actually don't have to do anything and just test your app to see if it's working or not, right? Next step. Now you need to set up a connection between the client and the server, right? Client and server. So you have to install this package on the client as well. It's another package. It's not the same as the one we installed in Node.js. So copy, right, and here I'm gonna stop the server and install it and wait until it finishes. And then inside your app you can copy and paste these two lines. It's very important. I will explain it. So the basic here, this is the URL to your application, to your Express app, right? It's gonna be the port 5000, and this is the library that we just installed, socket.io client. So I'm gonna copy these two lines and paste it in here. Okay, save it. It takes a lot of time to install. So now we can, after all of them, we can refresh our browser, the front-end browser, to see the log saying establish a new connection. I'm gonna wait here. Okay, while I'm waiting for it, do you have any question for now? Why does it take so long? What do you mean? There's no npm run dev on front end. It's only npm start. There's no such thing as npm run dev here. This is React. Can I see your index? Which index? Client? Here. Just remove two lines. It was like this before, right? Remove these two lines. Yeah. And remember the comma here. Don't remove it. There should be a comma here, because the app is a first argument and this one is second argument. So we only delete the two elements here, the wrapper here. Okay. So here, George, you do npm start here for React. npm start. There's no npm run dev here, but you can actually create your own script. So after you install it, now you can do npm start. Okay, let's wait. Right. So now if you take a look at your backend logged, backend, this is front end. As you can see here, the name here, front end. Go to your backend, you actually see a message, a log here, say establish a connection, right? So that means a user has created a connection, or a user has connected to your server, your WebSocket server. What if I open a new window, a new tab here, and I type in the same localhost 3000 here, right? So right now I have two clients that connect to the same server, two clients here. And if you go to the code, oh, it's freezing. If you go to the code, I don't know why it keeps freezing on me. You see two logs. This is the first tab, this is second tab, right? So now I'm gonna clear everything, right? And I'm gonna refresh the first one. Refresh. You will see one log, right? And this one I'm gonna refresh it again. You will see the second log, meaning there are two connections at the same for now. So we already successfully you didn't change the port to 5000. Why should I change it to 5000? It's already 5000 here. Oh, this front end, your front end run on 3000. Front end run on 3000. Remember, I always say about it. by default React will run on 3000. It's just two client but one server for front end. So just imagine that the local host, the terminal here, not here, this terminal here is your Netlify, right? So you can have multiple user, multiple client to run on this server at the same time. Okay, so I can run another window. It's okay. They are all different clients. So we can have two local hosts. Yeah, it doesn't matter how many you have. You have. Right. It's just a new tab. It's just a new window. Right. Where are we? I'm gonna close one of them. Too many. Right. So now we successfully create a connection. Now step number 2. And actually step number 2 and step number 3, it does not have anything to do with the chat app. It just shows you how to how to connect with the server and sending data and receive data, right? So as you can see here, cow updated doesn't have anything to do with the chat app, right? It doesn't make sense. If you see, take a look at the chat app, it doesn't make sense. The milestone 2 and 3 here is just showing you how to create a connection like this. Listen to a connection, listen to the event and emit the data, listen to event cow updated and console log it, and somehow you can emit it, right? So let's do right now. The chat app actually start on milestone 4, but milestone 2 and 3 is very important, so we can wrap the whole idea. So go back to the this is the backend side. On the server side, sometimes if the code is belong to the server, I will have a message here, like say a note here. On the server side, you do something, and if I switch to the client, I actually say on the client, right? For example here. So pay attention to the note. Don't just copy and paste, right? Question from Coy: can you go over this step again? See in the connections. Yeah. Here on my front end, I import socket IO client, right? And then I create a new variable called socket, and I assign the value, which is this. The whole thing here will create a connection between the client and the server. The client here means your browser. It does not mean the server, the front end server. So for React, it's very important to understand that React will let me type in here. React will runs on a server. Yes, there should be a server to serve the code, to serve the JavaScript code, right? So that's called React server or your front end server. But your code is not executed on the server. Your React app is not executed on front end server 3000. I'm gonna say the pop here so makes sense to you. So React app, your React app is not executed. The script is not executed on the server. Instead, the server will, I'm gonna say 3000, will send the script JS files to client, your computer, anyone computer or browser. Okay, it will send the script to your browser, and your browser will execute the code. Right? And, clear? Actually, 3000 does not show anything. To be precise, 3000 just serve the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. That's it. That's it. It just serve the file, the static file. It serve the static file. 3000, meaning serving. In other words, serving static files. No, no. 3000 doesn't send anything. It's only serve the static files to browser, and the browser is they actually the one that execute the code and sending requests and anything to the 5000 and send requests to server backend. So this it should be clear on the React module. So React application is not running on your on the 3000 server at all. 3000 server is just a node server. Actually it's a node server. You remember the NVM, right? So it's actually a node server, and that node server only serve the files here, all the files here. And every computer will have the same files, but the content will be different depending on this the input they provide. So it will be different on the browser. It's not different on the server, the front end server, but it's different on the browser. So to your client, when I say client, I mean your browser. All right. So these four lines here is very important. So your browser will receive the files from the server, from the 3000 server, only the files. So every files will be the same for every browser, but then the content is different. So browser will execute all the codes on the front end code. So the browser will execute all the front end code, and those code will, like for example, if you click on this button, it will send a request to the backend. So the backend will be a static backend. So it's the backend. There will be only one backend, but there will be a bunch of clients, and each client can be a tab, a window, or a browser, or another computer. Doesn't matter. So that's why I show you two connections right there, here. This one is one, and this one another one. And actually, you can open your Safari, and then you can type in localhost 3000 as well. So it's going to be another client. And if you go back to your backend server here, you'll see a bunch of connection. Okay, is it clear now? This one is very important, like to understand. Because right now I only have two clients. If I refresh two clients here, you will see two logs. See? Yeah. What do you mean here? On the server, on the back end. On the front end, the whole front end here, the whole front end terminal here, it's just serving the front end code, the React code, to the browser. Just like how the view engine work on the handlebars work, right? All the handlebar files are the same, but you have different content. Did you do node server in the backend? Yeah, you have to do that. Yeah. I do npm run dev, and that's run dev is gonna start a node server. I don't get any console log statement on connections. Do you have something here? Did you check that your server is running at all? So everything, if everything is right, you should see a connection. So this one belongs to the Express app. Create node server, create WebSocket server. Okay. Socket, and this one's gonna be start listen on Express. Right, as you can see here, there are two clients that are using that are connecting to the server, even though I change something here. Hello, even though I change something and I save it, still the connection still proceed, right? The two-way connection still proceed. So that's the power of WebSocket, right? Because I haven't closed these two windows. Why do we delete strict mode again? Because strict mode here, you need to understand why is there a strict mode in the recent update, because it's from React and Facebook, and they want to have a strict mode. Means like it's a tool, it's kind of like a tool to help the developers to figure out whether they code correctly or not, right? So that means it's gonna run the render twice. For example, if I have here, I'm gonna say it's 5,000. Like we've been using 5,000 for since like 3 weeks. Class extend this one. CC, I think, yeah. Oh shit. So basically, the render here, this is the underlying function that React is going to run, even though you say function app, right? Function component app, but it's still run the class, and inside the class there should be a render function. And if you have strict mode here, it will run the render twice. So it will run the render. For example, if you do console log, hello, no, one should be once, right? And I have strict mode here. If I still have strict mode here, you will see once 2 times. Right, something wrong. Export default app. Right, component is notified, sure. Right, now if you take a look at the log console here, see it run twice. You see the number 2 here, it run twice. If I delete strict mode, actually Heroku will create a random port number for you using inb port. Right, right. If I delete strict mode here, you only see it run once. The render run once, right? So that's the difference between strict mode or no strict mode. Okay. and I don't want to see the behavior that the render run twice, so I delete it. It's not like you have to delete it. You can skip it. You can keep it, but if you code wrongly, like you put so many things inside the render here, for example, you run into a problem. And I remember someone already did that. So you don't want to see the current message run twice. I actually sometimes, for example, when I want to debug, right? I want to console log inside the render. Normally you want to run console inside the render. And if you see the render once, the console log one run twice, you will like freak out. Why the hell is run twice? Right? So every time you set state, right? Every time you set state, the render will be called again. But with strict mode, the render will run 2 times, and you will be like freaking out. What the hell? I only set state once. Why do it like re-render 2 times? Something like that. Okay. Now, if your app have a strict mode, you can delete it. It doesn't hurt. You can also leave it there. But it's harder to debug sometimes. Okay. So now I'm going back to the functional component. Right. All right. Next step, I forgot what we're gonna do. Right. So next step, we're gonna do some experiment on how to sending data and listening to data from the server. Go back to our server, and on the server side we set up our cow update with some value data. For example, here cow will be 0. So the purpose here, I will create a button, and that button, when I click it on the front end, the back end will like emit, will record data, that event, and increase the number count in the backend side, and then backend also send the data, the updated number, back to the front end, and the front end will render it on the screen. Okay, so basically I'm gonna create for example, I'm gonna create a button here. I'm gonna say count here is something. It's gonna be some number, maybe 0 for now. I'm gonna have a button. Okay, and this button is gonna increase on click. This on click button will increase on number. So right now I'm gonna disable this, and whenever I click this button, the count should go up by 1. And the important thing here is the other client, right? The other client also see that number increase. Right? If you don't have a backend, it's like impossible to click on this browser, on this client, and the other client see the number increase, right? So if you just use state, for example, I'm gonna import and show you the reason. Oh shit, it's late. Right. Let's quickly do it. Yeah, keep it safe. I think you already know it. Right? So we're gonna do something like this in the backend side. So here is your backend, and let's forget about the app, right? Go to the server. I'm gonna close all of these to make you less confused. Go inside this function. Inside the function, actually you let count. Actually, this function is this function here. I'm gonna delete this one. Okay. And here's the connection, default event. So whenever a user joins a server, you have a default event is connection. And then whenever the user emits some data and trigger an event, I will increase its number by 1, right? So if socket count that, right? So I'm gonna do socket dot on. And the event is going to be increment, and you will have another function like this. So this one emits default count. For now, you don't need this one as well. I skip ahead one step. So if you go into the server, open your client and establish a connection, you should see the number 0. And here's how you listen from the client. Go back to the client, and here we go. Let's say use effect. This one is a function. Inside here you can have a square bracket. Now we have socket on count update, so you will listen to this event all the time. You will like always listen to this event, and when the count is updated, you can cancel out it. For now, you don't see it on the screen. You don't see the number increase on the screen. You only see the on the log, right? For example, and I save it. I open React. Right. Yes, right. Use effect. Save. Nothing wrong. Go to client. All right. So now you can see count from the server is 0. Right. Don't look at this. Ignore this. Look at this number. And here as well. If I open console log, I also see 0 here. Right. If I change this on the back end side, if I change this one to 100, guess what? Front end you will see 100, right? I didn't change any code in my front end. I only changed it on the back end side, and the front end will get this data via the WebSocket, and the data was sent from the server. Okay, this is how you listen to an event here on the front end, as you can see. Clear? We're gonna do one more thing and then we'll take a break real soon. Is it okay now? Is it okay? So I'm gonna move on. So hard to see. All right. So now I'm gonna set state count. So count here, I'm gonna use a variable. I'm gonna set state here. You got a count, and then you set count. Const count. I forgot count, and then set count equal to use state. By default should be 0, for example, and then you have to import use state, and then you don't have to console log anymore. Just set count from count here. Let's just say this number to make you less confused, because we have two counts. Number, right? Now you should see the count update on the screen, 100 here. Cool. Okay, next step, I want to create a button here, and when I click this, I want to see let's say I'm gonna create another function. I want to increase the number on the backend side. I want to increase the number here. What's wrong here? Okay, it doesn't matter. I want to increase the number here. It starts from 0. I want to increase it by 1 every time we click. So I will create a something called socket.all, and this socket comes from the element here. So when you create a connection, you will have a variable called socket. It's created by socket.io. So basically, this socket is the connection between the server and that client. This socket represents the connection between server and a client. Only a client. So socket.on. So we will listen to the event increment, and then we just to count plus equals I forgot plus count plus and then after all we copy this and we also emit it update, right? Right, so this is the back end, and I'm going to the front end, and I define a function in order to emit a socket, emit an event. Cons, to use cons. This is how you. I hope you don't forget this. And here you do socket dot emit, and you gonna emit event increment. Why is it increment? Because on the backend side, sorry, on the backend side we define the we agree on the event name should be increment, right? So on the front end we will send we will trigger this event. That's it. We will trigger this event, and I'm gonna call this one here, right? And then on the server side, when the server receives this event, it will create a count. It increment the count number, and then it will emit the updated value using this event. So on the front end we already listen to this event, like we keep listening to this event all the time. So let's go and test. Shit, this button so small, sorry. Increment the number, right? Now I'm gonna test. I'm gonna refresh refresh this one as well, and I'm going to increment the number. Yeah, as you can see, the number go up by 1, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, and I expect this tab will also see number 5. Oh, it's not for some reason. It's not emit, it should be broadcast, because when you emit, it only emit to this client, right? It's only emit to this client. Yes, it should be broadcast. So go back to the backend side and change this one to broadcast. Okay, and then save everything. When you save, the number, the count here will go back to 0. That's why you see 0 here. Now if I increase, I lost connection somehow. Wait, I don't think it's broadcast. So the reason why I lost connection is something wrong in my server. I'm sure something wrong in my server. Something wrong in my server. There, it's crashed. There's no shortcut broadcast here. So let's go back and take a look here. It's not broadcast. It should be something else. Broadcast or emit. Broadcast and then you emit, because there are a couple more, not just broadcast only. So broadcast.emit. Okay. Save. Why do you have the same code in line 16 and line 18? So this run on the event that a client join, right? This run on the event increment. They are different, right? This run on this. I'm gonna delete this one to make you less confused. So line here, it does not show 0. It show the current value for the count, the current value. Right, I will show you. Oh yeah, got it. Okay. So this one is like whenever you click the button, it will send the updated count. Now let's go back and take a look. It's 0. They are on 0. I'm gonna clear the lock here. All right. This one too. Let's refresh everything. So you see 0. What the fuck? Now you see 3. And when you do broadcast emit, this number will not go up by default, because broadcast emit only show other clients. So there should be one different. I have a couple of explanation here. So you have IO emit to send to all clients. I have socket emit to send only to the current client, and also have socket.broadcast emit to send to all the client except the current one. Shit. So we have three different methods, right? Emit means sending to the IO. Look at this, IO emit sending to all clients. Socket emit meaning send only to the current client. Socket.broadcast.emit means send to all the clients that listen to this event. So now we need to use this in order to send to everything, or we have to use 2 lines of code, or we can just use 1 line. So depend on your purpose that you want to use. So I'm gonna. So this is another way you can use 2 lines of code here, right? Or you can just use io.emit. Same thing, and you don't need to use this one, right? Again, 0, and then you increase. You see 1 here, and this one should also be 1 as well. So increase for 10. You also see 10 here. And if I open a new Windows, a new client join, that client will see the current number 10 as well. Cool. So that's how we create connection between clients and server, and how we listen and update the number as well. So let's wrap up before we take a break. Let's wrap up, and then I will ask questions. Go down. So you can do front end and back end at the same time, or you can do it do one by one. So let me explain one by one here. So we meet a global variable which is count. We let it to be equal to 0 at the first time the server run, and then we listen to the event that someone join the server, someone connect to the server, and that is this part, right? So someone join the server, they will see an update the count number, and then after that I want to add one more feature, which is like when a user click on a button and the count number will increment by 1. So that's why I add this function, and all it does is like it will listen to this event increment, right? Socket.on, and socket is the connection between the current client and the server. It will listen, the server will listen to the increment event that will be sent from this event will be sent from the client, right? So the client will trigger this event, and on the server side we will listen to this event and we increment the number by 1, and then we return it to all the clients, that listen to this event calculated. Okay, that's why Nguyen asked a question, why the hell we have 2 functions like this, right? This one is to run whenever a client trigger this event, and this one run whenever a client join the server. So they are different. Okay, now go back to the front end. We want this event, or we want this event to exist. You can actually put it outside, but I prefer put it in use effect, so that if you get events, you can terminate this event by returning socket.on disconnect, right? Something like that. But right now, don't worry about it. So I'm gonna put it in use effect, and whenever this component load, the app load, right, this use effect will run, and when use effect run, it will call the function, and this function will establish a connection. Not really, it will establish it's kind of like a connection that will listen to this event all the times, right? It always listen to this event until we close this app. Okay, it will always listen to this count updated event, and then whenever it receives some data, meaning the number here from backend, which is count, it will set state on the front end, and it will show on the UI here. Right. So now we want the button to the ability to click on the button, and that button will trigger this event. So socket.emit. You can send some data here, some bullshit here. So on the back end, you will have words, and that words will be some bullshit, right? So right now we don't need anything, so that's why we don't actually sending anything. So we can skip the second element. It's optional. Right, questions before we take a break. What's the IO for IO? IO from the backend, IO is for this. It's kind of like a socket server. Web socket server. Yeah. Question. If you don't have question, you can like follow the lab for milestone 1, 2, and then in the afternoon let's have a recap, and then you can ask question then. It's too late for now. People need to eat. Right. I will see you guys in the afternoon 1:30. Okay, if you have problem setting up a server, please send me a direct message, or you can ask on general chat. People can help you with that as well. See you guys. Send me a message on DM. Let's take a break a little bit, Koi. You should read the this part here, Koi. Wrap up. There's a wrap up here. You can use 3 different methods: io.emit, or socket.emit, or socket broadcast.emit. They are all different. They serve different purpose. Right. See you.